What is Martin like as a person? Because as I've said, I've followed his career progression for almost a decade now, from when he was on trial in Spain. He's rubbing shoulders with idols like 𝗗𝗡𝗡. And I can remember watching an interview, like it must have been like 7 years ago. And this is how I came to like know of Martin Davis. He was this young boy who was like very articulate and, very passionate. And I was looking at him and I was thinking, he has all the attributes to go on to be like the face of Jamaican football. Like I said, it looked to me, he came across as someone who would be an excellent ambassador for Jamaican football. And I thought, okay, let me take note of him. Obviously, that's just my assumption. I don't know Martin, I can only gather assumption, but what is Martin Davis really like?
Well, one thing he's very passionate about football, very, very passionate. And that is something that displayed itself when he was young. I think I always tell people the story that he was playing with real Mono, and I was carrying him to school one day, and he said to me, I want to play for Harborview. That was when he was about 10 or 11. And I'm like, Harborview, where exactly does Harborview play football? He says, Harborview, in Harborview. I said, but Martin, we do the trek back to school. How am I going to do it? And why do you want to do it? And he said, Harborview plays for the Premier League. I know nothing about football, okay? So I'm like, Premier League? He says, yes, they play outside of that. Real Mona, which plays at Mona, doesn't do that. So please, can I do this? So I'm like, okay. So we organized him getting to football. A taxi would carry him to football, and then I would pick him up, or invariably I drop him off. And we organized it quite well, but it was something that he always wanted to do. And he and I had a deal whereby you do well in your schoolwork and you can play football, because I really believe that you need to balance it, because training meant leaving school, going to training. We would have to pick him up, and then he'd come home like about 7, 6, and by then he's dead tired. We'd have to feed him. And so that was his first display to me that he was committed, very, very, very committed, and he has never stopped being committed. When the situation with Spain, Harborview decided that they were going to pay for him to be a part of this process whereby Valencia had come to Jamaica, and they had decided that we're going to, in conjunction with Scotiabank, do a kind of training session, pick the best of the lot, and send them to Spain for a trial period. And when he came home, they gave us another opportunity of him going back to train and go to school. And that was another tremendous opportunity, which took a lot of, pondering, what should we do? Because Martin, I think, was 13 at the time. He was a baby. He was in third form. And I couldn't, we have a blended family. Huh? His father is now married to someone else. But we have a very good blended family. We had a family meeting, and we were discussing costing. And what I think was so telling and precious for me is that it was like a lot of money. Harborview was going to give us some seed money, but we still had to deal with the cost for schooling, the cost for accommodation, the plane tickets. And his father's wife, whom he loves dearly, he was in her lap. And she said, okay, we'll find X. And his father looked at her like, what do you mean? X is for the roof. And she says, that we can do the roof some other time, but we need to do this. Martin wants to do that. And I just thought that that was the sweetest thing that Narose could ever have done, because she looks at Martin as her own son. So he's always had the support of his mom's wife, the entire family. So we have a really good network. So he went to Spain. I cried all the way to Spain. I cried all the way back. I cried when I left him. But that was the groundwork for him, I think, those years that he spent there. And so it was interesting. He was so young that I would have to have a situation, or we would have a situation whereby he would be placed on the plane, and they give you this kind of stewardess who looks after you. But when he gets to Madrid, he's taken care of. But from Madrid to Valencia, they don't have that facility in terms of checking in. So I usually stay awake wondering, oh my God, is he going to come off the plane? Something going to happen to him? So this is a joke between me and my friends, did the package arrive? That is Martin. Where's the package now in transit? I even had a friend who worked at American Airlines who she could track him. So she would say, yes, he's in seat so-and-so, he's fine. Where am I? I've taken him into the VIP lounge. He's been watered and fed. I will get someone to put him on a plane. Those were hectic years, but I survived. What was interesting is that he got A for Spanish and B for English. I don't know any Jamaican who leaves Jamaica and goes to study and he gets A. He became very fluent in Spanish there.
How is fatherhood treating him?
Oh, he is enjoying it. I mean, he loves his little princess. I think the distance, as it should, has impacted, but they too have found their own little way of coping. She speaks a lot. They communicate a lot. He takes fatherhood seriously. When his girlfriend was having the baby, he timed it perfectly that he returned to Jamaica. In fact, we were with her at the hospital when she was in labor. And by the time I left, he was on his way because he landed in Montego Bay. So he managed to get into Kingston in time to be with her for the birth. So to me, being present at all times, irrespective, and he asked for time and he was not going to argue about that. He was very much present there and has been present and doing his best. And I think that is very commendable.
He comes across as someone who is so genuine and loyal. What's his relationship like with Kyle Butler? Because they seem to be best of friends.
Martin is like that. He has few friends who are, well, he may have a lot of friends, but one thing I like about him is that he tends to have a very tight clique. Kyle is someone that he's had a relationship with from high school, because Kyle had gone to George's and he was at George's. So they've had a continuous relationship and they've played together on the same team. They've trained together. They've done so many things together. They're very supportive of each other. And I really think that that is so important in today's football, that you find your people, you find your tribe and you stick with them. So I think that is something that has nurtured them both in terms of good times and bad. They have stuck it out together, and I see them tweeting positivity, with each other, and it helps when your tribe is there supporting you. And Kyle has provided that support, and I know Martin has provided that support to him as well. When he was on his way home, when his girlfriend was delivering and I couldn't find him because I didn't know where he was, what highway he was on, I could call Kyle. And I'm like, Kyle, trying to find, he's right here in the car, auntie. I'm driving as fast as we can. We're on the highway. I'm like, okay, fine. That is the kind of relationship they have.
It's been a while since Martin has played for the national side. He hasn't featured yet for the senior side, unfortunately. What do you think it will take to see Martin receive his senior team call-up?
No, I don't know where their eyes are, because he's out there playing. It's not as if he hasn't been a Reggae Boys. I think he has been, was it under 23 and under 17, if my memory serves me correctly. He's been home twice. He's been in camp. He's done whatever it is. I know in the early set, what had happened is that there's this expectation that because you play outside of the confines of Jamaica, you're supposed to play every position on the team and bring the team home.
Does the concept of, being able to play in a variety of position apply to all players, or is that only applied to players who play in the diaspora?
They seem to have a handle on the players here, and they seem to have a handle on the players externally that they want to have a handle on. My understanding when I was interacting with JFF that he was in their database. I don't know what is the factor that causes them to do certain things. I know for me, originally, I suppose there was a time when I would consistently make contact with the persons that I know are in the JFF and doing stuff like, he's home, he's here, he's doing this, whatever. And the club would also do it, Harbour View would do it as well. But perhaps because there is not much, you've made a good point. Perhaps because I haven't, or anyone hasn't been making any kind of contact with them to say, this is what he's doing. You need to keep an eye out as much as we used to do when he was on this on the 17, on the 23. We don't do it anymore. But I would have thought that it would be in the best interest of Jamaican football to have a complete database of all their players, home and outside of the jurisdiction. So whenever it is required, they can call upon them.
So the next World Cup is around the corner. We're going to be doing qualifiers very shortly. I would love to see Martin receive his call up between now and then and hopefully be on that plane to the next World Cup. So hopefully things goes exceptionally well in the footballing department for him and he could put on the black, gold and green jersey and represent Jamaica once more.
That would be wonderful. I'm going to keep my fingers and toes crossed. That might be what I have to do because you put it on the agenda, is that I have to start, like checking in on the powers that be, sending some positive vibrations and picking up some phones and doing what I used to do prior, because I always joke, you have a manager, but you have me,
Mm-hmm.
and do the management and the guidance and see what happens. But I hope that is something that happens to him in the future. And I think he would be so honored to do what he normally does, which is to take up that mantle.
It needs to happen. I think he would work excellently well besides Leon Bailey. I think him and Leon would link up very well together on the pitch. So that is definitely.
Oh, that would be great. They have trained before, played together. I can just imagine a team like that. That would be the ultimate dream team.
Yes, yes. Leon on the wing, and you have Martin in the middle, in midfield. I think that would be a tasty pairing. So.
Perhaps I should start tweeting that. Do you think if I tweet it, they'll see it? Let's put Leon on the wing and Martin on the inside. The dream team. We call it the dream team. We're conceptualizing the dream team for World Cup. And see
I love how that sounds. That's my vision. Our vision. Not everyone's going to agree with our vision, but I think that makes perfect sense. And that for me.
Well, I'm behind you. You tweet it, and all I will do is, retweet.
All right, I will.